Thank you, Steve. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I just want to thank Almighty God for this opportunity and for the organizers of this event, inviting me here to speak. That introduction was really heavy, made me feel really old. But I must say this, that I am the least among here. It's a pleasure being amongst all of the guests up on the stage who I'm co-paneling with, and all of you out there. So I hope to just share a few thoughts that are in my mind, and if you can look at me just as a young person, not just as Ryan, just as a young person representation of the young India. So we're looking at education and what are the challenges for an international school. Well, firstly, the challenges and opportunities comes from change, and we know that change is inevitable, and basically the only thing that is constant is change. There are several things that causes change, and change affects us. The recent economic crisis, you look at changes in leadership, political changes, changes in telecommunications, how we connect with each other, and of course the net and the growing population. So what does this change bring to us? Everybody's accepted, change is unavoidable. But Peter Drucker says that, like taxes, we try to postpone them, but it's better for us to adapt to the change now. Okay, so let's look at some of the changes in education. There's an increased population, so a lot of the PE guys that have come and met a lot of you would say there's a great demand, there's a great number of children, so there's a great business opportunity, right? Changing role of a teacher. We all have had wonderful teachers in our lives. The role of a teacher is now changing from just being an information silo to being a facilitator. Because today the students have all of the information at their fingertips. Advancement in technology. Today a child of 3 years old, you put the tablet in their hand, they'll be very comfortable with it. You take the same piece of technology, give it to a teacher, she'll be scared of breaking it. So that's the divide. There's an interesting fact that I found. There was a 16-year-old recently in the US that got $1 million for an iPhone app that he developed. I wonder what his computer teacher must be thinking. He must have been all green, either in jealousy, or maybe he must be thinking that he added value to the child, and some of that green is coming his way. But the fact is, every generation needs a new revolution. Well, one of the challenges that we all face is a lack of teachers, a lack of resources, lack of personnel. And whether it be international schools, whether it be any school in India today, there is a lack. There is different opportunities for people to go into different careers, and the sad thing is that teaching is going down the priority list of preferred careers. And that is leading to a dearth of quality of teachers. And that is a big challenge for everybody. Because as a school operator, we want good teachers in our classrooms because they are the ones that are interacting with our children. They are the ones that are representing us. And we want that quality to be of highest caliber. But it is a great challenge, and there is no perfect solution for it. This is a concern I share as a young person that there's a dilution of moral values and ethics. Today, sad to say, my generation is thinking all about fast money, easy money, want to become a multi-millionaire, multi-billionaire overnight. And that is really sad because our parents, our previous generation has worked really hard. And this is something that we need to drill into our new generation as they grow up. One of the great things about the change in today is that there is various product offerings in terms of curricula. There will be national and international, and there's an acknowledgement and there is an acceptance. So there is an opportunity, and that's why we all are here in the international curriculum segment. But here's a question that I often ask our own teachers and our own parents and our students, that are you so globally bound that you're of no local use? Why do I say that? A lot of the times you think international curriculum and, wow, I just want to go to the US, I just want to go to the UK, I want to go study abroad. And they think, that the national curriculums are of a lower quality or caliber. But is that true? Is there one better than the other? Sorry, I'm bouncing out a little bit. So, responding to change, we need to recognize that we need teachers, but teaching has to be a calling. It's just not a career. Money can't just be a motivator. Um, Here's a fantastic quote. If you hire people just because they can do the job, they'll work for you. They'll work for your money. But if you hire people who believe what you believe, they will work for you with blood and sweat and tears. So we need to have the right people with us. Another interesting thing about teachers and in education is about leading and mentoring. How often do we mentor? How often do we build leaders within our own community? Here's another great quote. If each of us hires people who are smaller than we are, we shall become a company of dwarfs. But if each of us hires people who are bigger than we are, we shall become a company of giants. This is a quote I keep referring to our principals and our leaders in our organization, that please don't get too comfortable in your seats, because at some point you need to be mentoring someone else to take on that leadership position. Great thing about international curriculum is that collaboration. And this is a fantastic opportunity where kids today, using technology, are collaborating with kids all across the globe. And this is something that we need to harness. Just my final point in terms of technology. Everybody keeps saying we need technology in the classroom. We need greater pieces of smartboard, tablets, etc. But have we ever stopped and had a thought, what is relevant to our particular classroom? What is relevant to our particular student? But coming back to my point, children are born with technology. It's the teacher that is delivering the teaching. And if they are not using that piece of technology, then it's no point. Given the fact that even today, a paper and a pencil out in the villages of India is still a great piece of technology, great piece of innovation through which teaching is still done. So we need to be relevant, updated, but yes, we need to be relevant to our community. I just want to leave it with this, that India, there's a big task ahead of us, whether it be international schools, whether it be other schools. There are a lot of numbers that keep floating around. This is an old research report that had come out. And there are 100 million children that are not into the education sector. That's a mammoth task. And India is the largest young population ever in the history of mankind. We have close to 500 million young people who are under the age of 25. And it's more than all of North America. And that's a huge asset for us as a country. But at the same time, it's a great responsibility, especially for everybody in this room, because we are into education. Because these are the youth that is going to shape the future, that is going to shape the future of our nation. So it's not just we are building global citizens, but we have to be building responsible global citizens. And we have to manage the aspirations of the youth. As there's change, if you change your thoughts, you're going to be changing your world. The task ahead is great. Abraham Lincoln said this wonderful quote during his message to Congress. The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise with the occasion. As our case is new, so we must think anew and act anew. We must disenthrall ourselves, and then we shall save our country. Just talking about the quote, that there are a lot of things that we can learn from the West, a lot of best practices. There are a lot of best practices that we all need to learn from each other, because our situation, our challenges, our opportunities are very new. And we can't just rely on somebody else's solution. We need a solution that is relevant to us, relevant to India, relevant to our situation. All of us are here to discuss with you, to have question and answer sessions, because it's not that there's a simple solution. Martin Luther King, he did not give the "I have a plan" speech. He said, I have a dream. So we all have a wonderful dream to educate the youth of our nation. Though we have challenges, but we are determined to overcome that. So with that, thank you very much for being here, and I welcome questions.